flying in America is always really, really fun because before you can even go really much into an airport, you pretty much get to go through the TSA. And it's a super fun choice between being radiated in a scanner. They actually call it rapist scan, so you feel like you're being raped, or you can be physically patted down. And actually today's pat down for me when I opted out was a lot more, how shall we say, usually if someone's touching me that way, they're buying me dinner first. It was pretty interesting. But this time I had a knee injury. I fell last week and I hurt myself pretty bad, guys. And so I have a gash on my knee. My knee's all bruised and swollen. I have to wear a brace around it. It sucks. And I told the lady I had a knee injury. I let her know before she started the pat down. I was like, my knee's pretty injured here on the right side. She was like, okay. And she starts patting me down, and she's being pretty professional about it, honestly, except she got way more close and personal. She said it was my unmentionable she was going to get up close and personal with. And she really did. I would say she got in there a lot more than most people do. It was pretty unfortunate. I mean, I don't know her in a biblical way, but it already makes you feel extremely uncomfortable because you're being molested by a stranger. I mean, that's what's going on. So, but it's for your safety. Anyways, she gets down to my hurt knee and completely I don't know if it's the glove on the pants or what, but she raked her hand down and ripped open the wound on my leg. So now I'm having to stand there being patted down while I'm bleeding profusely all over the inside of my pants. I don't want to show it to you guys because it's pretty nasty, but I mean, here's some of the blood, just a lit's bit of it. That's a little, because after she ripped my leg open, it was bleeding everywhere. She was like, "Oh, would you like a paper towel for that?" So at least she was nice enough to do that. She did offer me a Band-Aid, and like a Band-Aid's going to cover this gash. It's a pretty big gash. I fell down really hard on the asphalt last week, so both of my knees look like, chopped liver. But anyways, then she's like, "I'll get you a Band-Aid." I was like, "No, that's okay." And then she just left me sitting in the little chairs, bleeding profusely, and it went on, and I sat there for, I don't know, probably 15, 20 minutes. It feels like forever when you're bleeding everywhere, and the blood got smeared up and down my leg because as she's patting, she's smearing like all this blood everywhere. And then finally, like after, I don't know, 15 minutes of me sitting there trying not to cry like a baby, the people behind me at this TSA kiosk were like, "Oh, she said you could go." I was like, "No, she didn't. They haven't even checked any of my stuff." They didn't check any of my stuff. She saw all the blood, because there was a lot. It was a lot of blood, actually. And she saw all of it, and it freaked her out, and she took off. I think probably she's one of those people that gets squeamish when they see a lot of blood. I don't know. But she just left me there. And so I was sitting there for a long time. Like Aaron was already, he came in after me, and he had to wait longer to get a male to pat him down. And he was already done and had every single bag he had gone through, checked, everything, still standing there waiting for me while I'm just sitting there. Obviously, if I had been told I could go, I'd have left. I wouldn't just sit there bleeding all over the place, crying in front of every new passenger that comes through TSA. And the thing is it hurts it hurts like a bitch. It hurts really bad. And it hurt really bad to have her just like rip the whole thing open. But that's not why I was crying. I was crying because this is why I hate flying. And when I was a kid, I loved flying. I thought flying was one of the coolest things you could do. One of the neatest inventions of modern times, right? But going through TSA for me is just so, it's so disgusting to be felt up by strangers, and it's worse to have them rip parts of your body open and then be like, "Hey, want a Band-Aid for that?" I mean, usually you're supposed to be guilty until you're proven innocent. That is how things are supposed to work, They're not supposed, This is like, yeah, you want a Band-Aid for that? I mean, they give prisoners medical care too. In some of the worst prisons we have in this country, they still give them medical care, but they're still prisoners. And that's what you feel like when you go through this. That's what it feels like. And at least I opt out, but then it's like I see everybody else and they're just like, yes, scan me, I'm a slave, you know. We've all just been worn down since 9/11 into this slave mentality and just watching everyone act like slaves. And I mean, we'll pretty much do anything in this country. If someone has a costume on with a little badge, you'll just do whatever they say. You'll do whatever it is, you know, at this point, because psychologically we've all been trained and ingrained with this learned helplessness. And it's like, normally when someone's bleeding everywhere, I mean, she made me lift up, I had to show it to her because it was coming through the pants. It was so much. Like, normally when a person sees another person bleeding, they have some kind of empathetic response and they actually give a shit. You know, if I saw some random person bleeding, I would want to help them. It wouldn't matter to me who they are, complete stranger, whatever, they're bleeding, they're hurt, I would want to help them. These people sat there watching me bleed and cry. They didn't give a shit. They didn't care. There's just nothing. It's like being in a room full of robots, you know? And it just makes you feel like a slave. And I guess, you know, Trump's going to bring in his, you know, biometric entry-exit program, and then we can just all scan our eyeballs, and it won't even matter what we do, right? I mean, I say Trump's program, but it was really whatever president comes in next, because the presidents change, but the plans don't. So it's going to be, I guess we'll all just be scanning our eyeballs and fingerprints, and eventually whatever I don't know what they're going to do, but so, and this is just so that you can fly to other, like at this point, we're getting ready to start working on our next film, and that's why we're in the airport, and we're going to go to other countries, and guess what? They're not going to treat us that way there. They don't treat people this way. Is it anywhere else that they even treat people this way? I don't even know if they treat people this way anywhere else. I think it's reserved magically for the Americans because people died on 9/11, and so we'll all collectively be continually victimized for it for the rest of eternity. That's basically what they've decided. So we all live in this prison state now because some people were horribly murdered in a false flag, so everyone else now collectively, military rules, you know, since 1947. It just makes me so sad. You know, call me one of those sentimental fools that just gets all worked up at border points and TSA checkpoints, but now I get to go fly for 10 hours in bloody pants, wet bloody pants, unless I want to change. And I have to do a whole lot of walking for all the filming we're about to go do, and my leg was almost healed, and I'm kind of pissed off that it's ripped open, and you know, she could have at least apologized. Doesn't that seem like the right thing to do when you feel someone up and then rip their leg open to say you're sorry? It just seems like that's what I would do if it was me. I probably just sound like a big baby. I mean, I'm sitting here right now, I'm staring out the window, and there's an American flag flying on this entry border thing for the airplane, and it's just such a joke. It's just, what exactly are we? What has America become? I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. I'm sorry if this was just me complaining. I love you guys.